In the winter of 1944, a fully equipped American rifleman was carrying 82 pounds of equipment. That is what the Army's own tables added up to, and the Army's own combat analyst, studying its soldiers in Europe, would conclude that a man can actually fight with about 40. Every soldier in Europe did that math for himself, usually within his first week of combat. And the answer is lying on the roads leading off Omaha Beach, a trail of brand new American equipment thrown away by the men it was issued to protect. This is what they threw away, in the order they threw it. Why the Army kept issuing it anyway, what that decision cost thousands of men in the coldest winter of the war, and the handful of things no soldier would ever give up. The first thing to go is the one built for the threat everyone feared most. Every man who lands in Normandy carries a gas mask. For the assault waves, it isn't even the standard model. It's a special lightweight assault gas mask, sealed in a waterproof rubberized bag, built to survive the surf. The United States procured hundreds of thousands of them. Gas was the nightmare of the last war, and nobody could promise Hitler wouldn't reach for it. He didn't. No gas came on the 6th of June. And a piece of equipment that answers a threat that never shows up stops being protection. It becomes nearly 4 pounds of dead weight in a fight where every pound is paid for in sweat and speed. Within weeks of the landings, discarded mask carriers litter the roads of Normandy, some reportedly with the waterproof seal still unbroken. Some men keep the empty bag. It happens to be the best waterproof pouch in the Army, perfect for cigarettes and letters. The mask itself they leave in the hedgerows. The Army understood exactly what was happening. Chemical officers spent the rest of the war fighting a losing battle to keep masks in the line. But here is the cold logic from the soldier's side. The gas mask protects him from what the enemy might do. The extra bandolier of rifle ammunition he can carry in its place protects him from what the enemy is doing right now. 40 pounds. Choose. The next thing on the pile didn't just get dumped, it drowned men first. For D-Day, planners issue the assault waves a purpose-built canvas assault vest. Pockets everywhere, everything a man needs sewn onto his torso, designed to replace the standard pack. Roughly 14,000 are made. It has one job: get a soldier and his equipment across a beach. It never really got field trials. Loaded, the whole rig can push a man's burden to around 80 pounds, hanging off his shoulders in exactly the wrong places. And canvas webbing does something ugly in seawater. It soaks, it swells, and it gets heavier. Men of the first waves went into deep water carrying the vest and didn't come up. The Army never confirmed a number. What the record does show is a verdict delivered by the soldiers themselves. Within about a month, the assault vests are almost all gone. Dumped, cut off, left above the tide line. The Army takes the hint. The vest is issued for that one morning of the war, and never again. One morning. 14,000 vests. That's how fast infantry equipment gets judged, and the sentence has no appeal. But the deadliest thing on the pile wasn't gear that failed. It was gear that worked. And that bill comes due in the snow. Summer 1944. The front breaks open, and the pursuit across France turns into a road march at war speed. A wool overcoat weighs about as much as 2 full bandoliers of rifle ammunition, and in an August heat wave, it protects a man from nothing at all. So overcoats, blankets, raincoats, the whole winter layer go onto the roadsides and into the ditches, the same journey the gas masks took in June. But this time, the choice isn't only the soldiers. Every ton of supply chasing the front across France is rationed, and commanders choose fuel and ammunition over winter clothing. The war might be over by Christmas anyway. So when the pursuit finally stalls at the German border and the rain starts, the men in the foxholes are standing in the consequences of 2 decisions: the coats they threw away in August and the coats headquarters never shipped in October. Remember that pile. The bill arrives in December. Now the strangest item, the one the army insisted on, and the one the war quietly demoted. Every rifleman is issued a bayonet, and every rifleman is trained for the bayonet charge. But study the photographs from Normandy to the Rhine, and something jumps out. American rifles almost never have bayonets fixed. Actual bayonet fighting in the European theater is vanishingly rare. So did they throw it away? Mostly not, and that's the interesting part. The bayonet survives by changing jobs. It opens ration cans. It holds a candle in a foxhole. It toasts bread over a fire, digs, pries, and stakes down shelter halves. 10 inches of government steel, issued as a weapon, kept as a tool. The men don't reject the object, they reject the doctrine and keep the steel. That's the pattern hiding under this whole story. The pile on the roadside isn't laziness, it's an audit. Every item the army issued got tested against one question. Does this keep me alive per pound? And the soldiers published their findings in the ditches of France. In November, the audit gets its reckoning. The rain turns to sleet on the German border, and the coldest European winter in years closes over armies still dressed for the pursuit. In Patton's Third Army that November, there are overshoes for roughly 1 soldier in 4. For the week ending the 25th of November, Third Army counts 60 cold injury evacuations for every 100 battle casualties. For every 100 men the Germans put out of action, the weather takes out 60 more. Trench foot doesn't graze a man, it takes him out of the line for weeks, sometimes for good, sometimes with his toes. On the 21st of November, 1944, weeks before the Battle of the Bulge begins, Patton writes it down plainly. The most serious menace confronting his army is trench foot and the weather. Not the panzers, the weather. Then, in December, the Germans attack through the Ardennes into the middle of that crisis, and thousands of Americans fight the Bulge in summer-weight layers, stuffing newspaper into their boots. The equipment war of 1944 ends in the snow, and the verdict cuts both ways. The men had thrown away too much, and the system had shipped too little. And it was the men who paid for both. But here is the part the discard pile doesn't tell you. Invert the question. After everything the American soldier threw away, what did he keep? The entrenching tool, always. The little folding shovel almost never hit the roadside, because the hole it dug was the difference between a near miss and a grave. Ounce for ounce, the most valuable life insurance in the army. The rifle cleaning kit, kept when spare clothes were not. The canteen, kept and refilled from places nobody wants to think about. From the mess kit, 1 spoon. Veterans across every theater tell the same small story. The plates, the fork, the knife, all gradually gone, and 1 spoon riding in the shirt pocket from Normandy to the end of the war. Everything a man truly needs to eat in 1 small piece of stamped steel. And dry socks. In the trench foot winter, socks stop being clothing and become ammunition. Patton's Third Army makes it policy. Dry socks go forward to the foxholes every day with the rations. 1 pair per man per day, hauled up with the food, because the army has finally arrived at the same arithmetic its riflemen worked out on the roads off Omaha Beach in June. 82 pounds of equipment. And what survives the audit is a shovel, a spoon, a pair of dry socks, and the rifle. Not one of them is dramatic. A man bet his life on every one of them, daily. The pile on the Normandy roadside was never litter. It was the true equipment list of the United States Army, written by the only men qualified to write it. And it's still the most honest document of how that war was actually fought. If that's the kind of history you want more of, the real record, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.